On the second day of Christmas, my true love gave to me one tinplate train. Howdy y'all, and welcome back. Today is day number 2 of the tinplate train build. Today we are doing the tender. So, where do I start? That's a really good question that I don't have a real good answer for. I guess I could start by taking a look at something that doesn't knock my light over. I've got my light back. This is the, slightly dusty. This is the tender from my American Flyer set, which is the one on my train table. Really, I have nothing from this. I don't plan it to look too much like this, so I don't know why I'm even bothering looking at it. My plan is to base the measurements of this on a few things. One is this train, particularly the width. I want all of the cars to be the exact same width as the base of the train right here. Height, I want something a little different. I don't want it to be as tall as this. This is too tall for the cars. I want it to be as tall as this, which those are pretty much dead on. So it looks like I'm okay in the height ballpark. Height ballpark? What am I talking about? Lastly, to determine everything, I need wheels. I have 8 of them, I believe. Wait, no, what? I have 16 of them, 4 for each car. Because there's going to be 4 cars in total, a tender, boxcar, a passenger car, and an observation car. In case you didn't see the past videos, I will leave a link in the description to the playlist, along with the Instagram to see the high-res pictures of the finished products. This is a multi-day build, so there will be a part tomorrow, the next day, the next day, the next day. Each day will be one thing. That's the plan. And Christmas Day will be the demonstration. So go check out the first parts if you just came in. Now, there's a problem with these. I bought these because they are American Flyer wheels. My train set is an American Flyer train set. As such, I based the width of this on the width of these wheels. I don't know why exactly, but there is a very significant difference. That's a problem, which has led me to two solutions, one that I've decided to do. The first solution would be to find new axles or make ones, but that's not what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is make the base of the train, this sort of part, separate from the undercarriage, I guess you could call it, where it comes down. So they're going to be 2 different pieces. It will be semi-3-dimensional. Basically, this will be slightly wider than the wheels, which I think will look really nice. I can't find an example of a train that works quite like that, but I think it's going to come out really beautifully. I think it's going to add a little uniqueness to it. But the first thing we got to do is build the base. That's going to be our starting point. Like I said, it's going to be based on the width of this. So, let's start building. Okay, so now we have the base, and the base is the same size as this one. I don't know how I can hold it to show that off, but same width. It's 2 inches apart is basically how wide it is. And then I went I went slightly longer than I did with this because it's going to be covering up some of the undercarriage, but I will do the same with all of the coaches as well. Now they won't be quite this short. This is quite short, as you can probably see. The coaches will be the same size as the engine. The next part is going to be making the undercarriage. Essentially, depending on how I do it, my thought is I will have essentially 2 long metal pieces, which are basically, think of it like this. Piece of metal, and I'm going to bend it like that, bend it like that. I mean, obviously it's going to be cut as well. The holes will be through the axle, and then this will go on here. That's essentially what I am about to do. So let's do it and see how it comes out. Well, I was definitely right when I said this is going to go quite a bit faster than the engine. I'm on day 1 of this. I'll be building the top next, so less than a day to build this part, which is quite good. This one took quite a bit longer, but especially when you factor in waiting for the bell and the lamp and all that. I am quite happy with how this came out, though. I know it was accidental, the whole axles being the wrong size that led to this, but I absolutely love these being separate pieces, the undercarriage and the base being separate. I think it really adds something to this. And I also added a piece of brass. It is purely decorative. It's not, well, no, I guess not. It is fairly structural, I guess. It's not the strongest, but it does support those some. I saw quite a few early trains that had something similar to that. I also drilled holes in the wheel. I saw a lot of trains that had holes going clear through, and I really like that. I considered buying some wheels that had those, but they were a bit expensive, and I couldn't find out their width. I couldn't find anything about the actual size, and that was pretty important for this. I didn't go all the way through because these don't go all the way through. And that kind of bothered me if those went and those didn't, and that's just how my brain works or doesn't work. I spent a very long time, some of which might be on camera, some of which I might not have recorded, trying to figure out why I couldn't get this straight on here. And I tried to figure out, I bent it so many times trying to figure it out. And then I finally set it down on the table and realized that it is straight. And it's the track that's it's bent. Oh, that made me feel like an idiot. Yeah. But let's start on the top. I'm also going to add, it's going to be a very standard top, nothing extremely fancy. I am going to add 2 brass rails that come up. I just kind of bring everything together with the brass, and because there's going to be brass rails on the cars as well. So it should just bring everything together. And yes, I am going to do this same thing on the passenger cars and the boxcar too. Well, we have our tinder. I am quite happy with this. The only thing left to do is, well, I've got to give it a good bath, get all the pencil marks off, get all the polishing compound off, and tape up the brass. I haven't decided if I'm going to have this brass run all the way across here, or if I'm just going to stop it in the middle. I haven't quite decided that, but I am very happy with this. Now, a lot of old trains have some sort of fake coal in here. For the most part, it seems like the majority of the ones made prior to the 1910s don't. So I'm not putting any kind of coal in here. I'm just going to leave it open like this. Now, you have like 1920s style. They do have that, but I'm trying to capture a little bit more of that earlier style. So, plus around the Christmas tree, I could put a little Christmas tree in there or something if I wanted. I have changed the hook idea. I didn't talk about what I was going to do much because I hadn't quite decided. I'm going to put these on both sides, and what I'm planning on doing is having a separate piece of metal that comes off of these to connect to the other one. That is definitely the shortest of any of these builds are going to be. But it is completely done, and I am very happy with how it turned out. In fact, I'm ecstatic about how it turned out. Just everything about it. The paint hasn't completely hardened yet. I do have to clean up a couple little places on the brass where some paint got through, but I'll do that later. That's no big deal. I do have the hook system finished. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach each one. I took these rivets that I got, these screw-in rivets. I made them shorter, and I made this nice little brass hook, which is designed to keep, well, let me see if I can get it this way, it's a bit easier, a straight line in between the two holes. Now on this side, we have a nice full-size long hook that I've cut down to just one side. So, when I want to hook them together, all I have to do is go like that. When I want to unhook them, all I have to do is go like that. That's all there is to it. In fact, if anything, I would say that's slightly easier than the American Flyer, which has these kind of hooks that you kind of have to get in and out. So, it's a pretty good system. Now, on the engine, it goes through the bottom. That's because this sits a little bit higher in the back than it does the front. Whereas all of the cars, they will sit up in the back. Now, the one thing I am probably going to add to this, to make sure that this doesn't scratch the paint, I'm probably going to put on a little brass washer at some point, but I haven't picked those up yet. And I can do that when everything's done. That's no big deal. I just have to do that before I set it up to go around the tree. A lot of these, like the American Flyer, you can't tell this, but this is weighted. This piece here is, I believe, a piece of cast iron. So this is actually weighted. This is fairly heavy to keep it from toppling over. I don't think that will be a problem. The weights are more for when you have lots of cars, whereas this will only have 3 more cars than these two. And they're all going to be pretty light. I mean, this thing is very lightweight. But if it is too light, it could, when it's turning, pull over. If that's the case, I have some weighted magnets that I'll simply put on the bottom. That's not a big issue. I don't think it will be a problem. I've put quite a bit of pressure pulling this, and it seems to be pretty sturdy despite being higher up than most trains. I think I'm going to be okay, but we'll find out. And if I do weigh it down, I'll mention it in the final video. So, this is the tender, and it is done. And tomorrow, check back for the boxcar. Still not sure how I'm going to do that one. This is sort of just making it up as I go along. So, if you want to see me panic, I'm sure I'll do that a few times, just like I did with these. Thanks for watching. Happy trails. And Merry Christmas. Almost. Probably. Unless I completely screwed this up.